5, 6, 7, 8. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brown Mouthwash. That is BROWNMOUFWASH, the podcast. I am your host, Matthew, and today I'm joined by the hosts of the Bottomless podcast. That is BTTMLESS podcast. So I'll let you guys briefly introduce yourselves. First, we have Leslie.
Hi, I'm Leslie, 1/3 of the Bottomless podcast, as Matthew mentioned. And I live on Oahu, so it is 11:37 a.m. my time as we're recording this.
Yes. Next, we have Vincent.
Hi. I'm Vincent. Sorry, I'm stressed. I am currently residing in heaven. If you can't tell, if you're watching this, I can't get this from being so heavenly.
But why are you sitting directly in front of a window if you're so stressed about it?
Because I need to clean my apartment, okay? And I haven't done it yet, so I don't want you guys to see that. So we're gonna do this touched by an angel aesthetic for today. But hi.
What's your name?
Vincent. You already know, Lil V.
And last, we have Kevin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Matthew Ortiz. I am 1/3 of the Bottomless podcast. I have known Matthew.
Way to steal my intro.
I think I've known Matthew for about 7-8 years now.
Nice.
And me and Matthew have been friends for a long time. And he finally did a podcast. So this is like a surreal moment because I'm so happy to see this in actuality. So, and we're happy to be here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy Matthew had us, and we're all excited.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew.
I just met Matthew today, so.
Yes. And we'll get more into how all of us connected and intersected later, because it is a pretty interesting story. But the first thing we have to do is start every morning with a swig of mouthwash. Today's mouthwash is 12% alcohol. I have soju.
Nice.
Today's mouthwash for me is 45% alcohol. So cheers.
Today's is my good old Costco bottle of Sky vodka, which is 40%. All right, cheers.
Cheers. Clink. Smooth. I like how we took a shot and Kevin had a whole serving in a cup.
I also like how nobody let me tell how much alcohol was in my mouthwash, but it's okay.
How much?
How much was it? How much?
It was 35%. It's a Crown Royal bottle. You see all Crown Royal was in my cup.
That's a pretty bottle.
It is a nice bottle.
Got money.
And before anybody thinks that I don't know how to read, I say 12% every time, regardless of what I'm drinking, because I like that number. But the strengths of it for real, they vary from week to week.
Good to know.
Yeah. I feel like I try to be creative sometimes and people just don't get it. So it just comes off as stupid or misguided. All right. Well, we're going to get into...
I support your thing, Matthew. I see what you're doing and I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Kevin leaned back like this. Okay.
In an igloo. Okay, sorry.
I will say for everybody that's listening, listening is one experience of the podcast, but if you can watch it, it's a whole nother ball game. It's just
talk about it.
I just so you guys know. And Bottomless is set up the same way where they record and they also have video and yes. So take your pick.
They're good in different ways. I think honestly, actually though, I prefer listening to our episodes back rather than watching them. Do you feel that way about yours? Or do you like watching?
Sometimes.
I mean, they're both good. Yeah.
Yeah. For the most part, I like listening to podcasts because I get to imagine it more. And but if you watch it, sometimes it's those little physical interactions and the faces and all the expressions and stuff that you really just get more context for. It just hit different. But I think both are enjoyable in their own right.
Their own right.
You know what?
Wait, did you not do that on purpose?
No.
For watching the Brown Mouthwash podcast. Subscribe.
Okay.
That was cute.
We're going to get into the first pour. For the first pour, I want to bring up Thanksgiving and the holidays. Obviously, Thanksgiving is coming up. And because of the coronavirus, the ways that we are getting together with our families or with people that we have not seen all year could possibly be very different from how we usually celebrate. So I want to open the conversation by asking, first, what are you guys' favorite parts about Thanksgiving in general? And then has COVID kind of curtailed any of y'all's plans this year?
My mouth is full of muffin, you guys.
Are y'all both chewing right now? Vince ain't chewing. Vince, go ahead.
No, I was just doing my lip thing. Wait, what was the question? I already forgot. Sorry.
So what is your favorite part of Thanksgiving? Like your favorite things about the holidays in general?
You guys, this is our big shot. We can't blow it. We're on the Brown Mouthwash podcast, you guys. I'm pretty sure he has 2 more followers than us on Instagram, so we better we gotta shape up. Yeah.
Sorry, won't happen again. Favorite thing about Thanksgiving.
And the thing we're most looking forward to. Also, Kevin, you better not have used up all your energy in the pre-recording. Sit up. Come on.
First of all,
join the conversation.
Mouthful of muffin, but you sure got a lot to say to us, but you couldn't answer the question. Your mouth ain't that full.
Stick up for me, Vince.
It ain't that full. So I'm very much looking forward to Thanksgiving. Thank you for asking. I already forgot the question again. No, so I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, but my favorite part since moving out from North Carolina is always getting a chance to leave. There's a sense of like leaving my day to day now when it comes to the holidays that wasn't there before. So it's nice to like get out of California and just be home. It's a lot quieter there. Spend time with loved ones. So I'm looking forward to that. But unfortunately with COVID, I had to do like a lot of awkward calculations of who I can see, when I can see them. And I'm kind of bummed about that because normally I see hella people in North Carolina, but this time I'm not going to see nearly as many. But I'm still looking forward to get out of California and my freaking apartment that I've been in every day for 8 months. So I'm very excited for that. And I'll see these 2 head asses, which will be nice.
And maybe we'll see you, Matthew, if you're coming home for the holidays.
If you come down from your castle in Raleigh.
Castle, hardly. But yes, I would love to come down. Just let me know.
Wait, Leslie, I thought you were staying in Hawaii for Thanksgiving.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I'm staying here for Thanksgiving, but then I'll be there for Christmas.
Vince got
for a nice little chunk for Christmas.
Yeah. We'll see each other Christmas.
Yeah. So that's what I meant. It's a holiday.
Yeah,
it all blurs. What is time?
It's a break, okay?
Yeah.
All right, Leslie.
Favorite part of Thanksgiving? I don't know. I just like being together with people that I love. Really simple, but I that's probably my favorite part. And then what I'm most looking forward to is probably I haven't seen my parents in a little over a year, so I'm looking forward to seeing them, of course, but I'm more so looking forward to seeing my cat Jalapeno and my nieces, just because they can't FaceTime. So like, especially my cat, like we can't. So like, I truly haven't gotten to like commune with her in over a year, and I truly cannot express like how much delight I have in that relationship. And like, I just love animals, and she's like, like the animal that I'm closest to. So. And of course, my nieces, like we can say hi on FaceTime, but it's not. They just moved. They lived here and then they just moved to North Carolina. So that's probably what I'm most looking forward to. And then like playing with them all together, So yeah.
Favorite part of Thanksgiving. So there's not really a physical thing that I go do. Weird thing, I don't eat Thanksgiving dinner with my family. I never have. They cook dinner, I grab my meal, I go to my room.
Never, literally never, like 6-year-old.
Since Kevin was 1 year old, he toddled away. Like defiant.
He gave him my milk and then waddled upstairs.
I think since single digits, somewhere in the single digits.
Damn.
Yeah. But the weird thing is that even with that weird background, I love the holidays because there's this weird thing about it being colder, less sunlight, but then people are more so like that aesthetic and atmosphere. But then just like you can like go into a store and there's like maybe Christmas music playing or like there's decorations up, or so just the general atmosphere of the holidays is my favorite part. Like the atmosphere of feeling that time of year. Like literally in July, like there's this trend that like I don't know where it came from, but like Christmas in July. Literally in July, I start listening to like Christmas music and Charlie Brown music, like jazz music. And it puts me in like a whole vibe and mood for the atmosphere and the time of year of Thanksgiving and Christmas, because it is like unequivocally my favorite time of year. So just the atmosphere. And then also I think like Vince said, and like Leslie was kind of alluding to, this idea of like being near family, being near loved ones. It's this time of year where even in all the stress, and especially with 2020, we get to be close and back home and out of the routine.
Don't remind me.
Out of the routine of what we normally do.
Don't speak the name of 2020.
Yeah, the year that shall not be named.
Matthew, what's your favorite part? And then how is it different this year with COVID restrictions?
The food, period.
Way to be honest.
Period.
I hate you so much.
That's fine. I've been hated before. I think that the food is the best part.
Come through old trauma.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish? We answered this. This is a cool crossover. We answered this question on our episode that just got released. So what's your favorite dish to eat at Thanksgiving?
Ooh. So it's not one dish per se, but I really love that forkful that has the macaroni, the greens, and the yams at the same time.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Oh. Do we need to leave the room?
No.
It's getting a little intimate.
Nope. I'm just thinking about it because it's just such a pivotal part of every meal. You know what I'm saying? But they can't be together. Some people mix the food. No. The food has to be separate on the plate. You have to deliberately put all three items onto that fork.
Yeah.
And that's what makes
part
it
of the joy.
Right. And a good
reason
roll.
For the season. That forkful.
We love a good method to the madness.
Period. But because of COVID this year, like my grandma said that she didn't want to do the huge family thing. Understandably so, I guess. Because my family's big. So I think we're gonna do individual households this year. But on Friday, I'm still trying to slide through because them leftovers.
Oh yes.
I gotta go get my plate.
Just go to each household and get.
Yep. So
How big is big?
So a typical holiday gathering, there are easily like 40 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because just on my mom's side, we have like my grandma and then her sister and then her cousin. And then my mom is one of 6. And then they got a couple cousins, and then each one of them got about 3 kids. It's a lot of people in that house. And then you get into the small people, and yeah, that house is there's a lot of bitches in that house. So yeah, I think they didn't want to do the huge thing this year, but hopefully we can get something together to where we can all get together for Christmas, and work everything out as far as getting tested and quarantining and all that stuff.
Do you think your family will all test? Because I feel like if I brought that up, my parents would be like, "Who are?"
Really?
I don't think they would be down. Like if we're talking extended family, like making everyone get tested. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's why we ain't getting together for Thanksgiving. But if we feel like there's more of a necessity for Christmas, I'm hoping they'll pull through. Stay tuned.
Yeah, same. I want everyone to get tested. Like I want to get tested as soon as I touch down in Fayetteville. We'll see.
I'm gonna get tested, but I'm gonna lick Vince before I get tested.
Evan is trifling. He's been plotting to give me COVID so I don't spend time with my family for the past month.
Both get COVID that way you just quarantine with each other.
Not biological warfare.
Right.
Let me just point out something. Because I know the U.S. Air Force is never gonna see this. One of the worksheet questions.
See?
They could, Kevin.
If we blow up, Kevin, don't limit. Don't put a roof on us. Don't put a limit on our...
the reach. The reach, like
big blue. If you're watching, so one of the stipulation worksheet, like you have to fill out a worksheet to go. Of course, I mean they're being safe, and if they're going to let their organization go on leave to different parts of the country, then they want them to answer some questions about risk assessment of where they're going, and what they're going to be doing. So one of the questions is at the end of the worksheet is, have you been tested for COVID? And basically, it's one of like several dozen questions that if you answer yes to any of them, then they go at the end of it. If you answer yes to any of these questions, maybe you shouldn't go on leave. And so in my head, I'm like, what kind of stupid? I get it. If I had symptoms and then I got tested, or if I got exposed as like the connection where I was around someone and I got tested, then yes. But if I got tested because I was being like precautious, why would you punish me by going, you can't go on leave? So I just want to say the U.S. Air Force, when I read that question and it was next to the, if you have yes to any of these, you shouldn't go on leave. In my head, I was like, yeah, basically, even if I did, I'm going to lie and say I didn't. So
I just,
I'm
not Kevin being the super spreader.
I imagine
I'm going to lick Vince. Y'all think I'm joking. I'm going to record myself licking Vince on the face when I get back.
That will just be one of our episodes. Like that'll be the whole episode. It's just like
licking Vince. I imagine like Kevin's answering all these questions, and then he gets to that one. He's like, almost got me. No. What?
Like when I go to stores and they have a sign that says like, read these symptoms. Have you had any of these symptoms? And I look and I go, stuffy nose, sore throat, head congestion. Have you had any of these? In my head, yes. To them, no. All right, you can come in. Bet.
To give Kevin a little bit of credit, though, they really got us fucked up, making us only get tested when we have symptoms. Like, bitch, I'm trying to be proactive. I'm trying to test after I give it away.
And so, PSA, like,
I kind of get it.
They have that rapid test that gives you the results in like 20 or so minutes, but that is only effective if you do already have symptoms. So a lot of people will get the rapid test and get that negative thinking, oh, I'm good, but they're asymptomatic or not showing any signs of COVID. So a lot of people just don't know that the rapid test that's not what that's for. That's for like you already showing signs of something, and they can tell you if that's what it is. So you might as well just get the regular PCR test, which takes like the 1 to 2 to 3 days, you know?
I don't know if I'm being a baby, but like, I mean, I'm definitely going to get tested and I want to, and I'm going to like push for everyone in my family to get tested, like before we start our holiday jubilation. But I hate, like, it just hurts so bad. I mean, I know I'm being a baby, but like, I hate how it feels. Like you guys have all gotten the test, right?
The nasal test?
Yeah.
It feels kind of good.
You just cry a little bit.
I'm usually like, take your time, girl. I like Yeah. Yeah. Nah, get the other one. Get the other one. Yeah.
This being there like,
Not get the other one.
Ben's like, oh, you starting with the left. Ooh.
No, actually, I hate it too. It feels uncomfortable. Yeah, I agree.
If I was ever in the position of giving someone the test and they start grunting or something while I'm quitting. You're not getting the test from me today. Put up there. Get out.
Oh no, now you guys have unlocked the giggles in me. We have to work hard to stay on track. Okay.
We can't do Kevin and Leslie off the rails. We'll never know where we'll end up. Where this train will take us.
We'd be in East Jabippi somewhere, like
Jabippi.
Woo Chile. Speaking of holidays and specifically Christmas, did you guys see how they're taking Charlie Brown off of the main cable and it's only going to be streaming exclusively on Apple? Like this year will be the first year that Charlie Brown Christmas or Charlie Brown Thanksgiving won't be on television since like the 60s.
Is there a reason why?
Apple
money.
Apple TV.
Apple bought the license for that and excluded anyone else from having it.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it'll be showing for like I think a window of time on Apple TV, but it's not going to be on cable like it usually is every year.
Damn.
Yo, we just need to form our own tribe and go off the grid and like start a new society. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it.
That didn't sound like so much work. I'd be with you.
Right. Yeah, when you get shit set up, call us.
True.
I'm not good at starting stuff, but I'm good at maintaining once it's already established. That's how I did in my fraternity. I ain't started on campus, but I was right after them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to take us too far off track. You can always cut this if you want, but I actually am genuinely curious. I noticed you calling that large group of Asian men in your most recent clips your bros. So are those people from your fraternity? Were you in like an Asian man fraternity? It had to be asked, okay?
Talk to us. Talk to us.
What are you calling that large group of Asian men?
It is what it is. That's what it was, okay? So
are you affiliated with those people in that way for real?
Well, you guys called each other brothers. So I was like, oh, was this like are these your fraternity brothers?
No, we are all from the same womb, actually. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're all in the same fraternity. Okay. And so I'm part of an Asian interest fraternity. And I mean, obviously I'm not Asian. I know I had you fooled.
I wasn't making any assumptions. I didn't know. You could have been.
It's the eyelids. Anyway, I'm not Asian, but I am in an Asian interest fraternity.
Leslie, go off. Leslie, go off.
Quick fact check. I got it wrong. Oh my God, real quick. I'll say this in our next episode. I've gotten so many things wrong on our podcast. Sorry. I said monolid, and monolid is the name for when there's like not a clearly seeable eyelid. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. My eyelids are just fat. They are. But yeah, so they are my bros because we're in the same fraternity.
Wait, what is an Asian interest fraternity?
Yeah, what?
So it's
like you're interested in Asia?
Not necessarily. It's a cultural interest fraternity. So it's similar to how NPHC, you could call it like Black interest, but that's gross. It's a those are historically Black fraternity sororities. The fraternity I'm in is historically Asian, so it's Asian interest. So a lot of our core values and the mission and vision and stuff are to promote Asian awareness and advocacy and all that stuff. So I joined because I knew some of our charters and I liked the mission that they were setting out to do on campus as far as being a fraternity that's actually focused more on service and advocacy and promoting that.
Do you want to party with them?
No, not really.
What's the matter with partying with Asians? Huh?
I'm joking because any Greek person you ever talk to, they're like, "Oh, I joined Alpha Chi Lambda because they're really serious about mom." And like, you wanted to party with them. Like, don't feed me your sob story.
No, like the parties were lit, but we ain't throwing. We went to UNC. So I really did like the mission that they were promoting on campus or whatever. But
love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's my
quick note. That's like the difference between Asian studies and Asian American studies. Bookmark for sometime in the future. They're interesting. Okay, back to what's next.
Wait, now I'm curious what that means, but yeah, fine.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah. Whenever you add American like to those things, it completely changes the scope of what you're talking about. And that was part of the reason why I joined too, because that awareness, not only of their cultures, but how it intersects with my own. Being a Greek organization, all multicultural Greek lettered organizations are based off of the MPHC and D9. So there is a fundamental responsibility for them to have awareness of Black culture.
Come on, Divine Nine.
Wow. Love that.
One of the things that I found myself instrumental in doing, not being the voice of Black people, because that's not my job, but providing the insight into my culture, since a lot of my family is in D9 and I have that kind of experience and I'm a Black person, to show like our missions aren't always exclusive or very different from each other. We just happen to run in different phenotypic circles.
Oh, yes, phenotypic circles. Wow.
$5 word. Boom. But yeah, that's my short spiel about why I haven't left the fraternity yet. So we're going to keep moving. But yeah, all in all, Charlie Brown ain't on TV this year, y'all. It's on Apple TV.
Back to what we were talking about.
We went from a Charlie Brown Christmas to Asian people. Also, y'all remember the Thanksgiving special for Charlie Brown, how they had that one Black kid on the other side of the table sitting by himself? That always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Y'all ain't catch it?
You lying.
I don't even know if
I
knew there was a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving I don't know if I've seen that. Let me see.
Because they did the whole first dinner thing with like the pilgrims and stuff, but homie was on the.
Oh God.
Oof. Let me see. All three of the Bottomless podcasts are looking this up right as we speak.
Wait, he's in the mix. He's up in the cut.
But actually,
No.
But look at this picture.
From the actual episode.
Yeah, Leslie's not lying.
They said segregation.
That's Vince. That's Vince. The dog is on the side with the white people and the black.
Oh, I love that intense social commentary.
Wait a second, but in this one, it's a woman on that side. It's a black person, a woman, and the dog on that side of the table. So, But there's also a woman on the other side of the table. So
they threw Patty Mayonnaise or whoever on the other side in another scene, but I think she mixed. They ain't officially announced it, but you can just see she down. But yeah, so if y'all aren't subscribed to Apple TV, don't expect to see Charlie Brown this season.
So sad.
So while you're on there, subscribe to our podcast on Apple.
Indeed. Brown Mouthwash and Bottomless podcast. What if there was a such thing as Bottomless Mouthwash?
Mouthwash.
I thought you were going to say bottomless like brown, and I was like, I don't like where this is going. Yeah.
That's not cute.
Well, nobody else was thinking that, so.
Sorry.
Thanks, Vince. All right. Well, before this gets any worse, we're going to go forward into the swish, and that's our main conversation topic. So this is again what I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, where I wanted to kind of get deeper into how we all kind of intersect as far as how we know each other. The topic that I wanted to bring up specifically for the conversation is about friendships and relationships and how you grow with each other and how those relationships develop and grow over time with us. We all know each other, and even though Leslie and I met like today, officially, we all kind of knew each other from years and years ago. So I'm going to let you guys start off, and then I jump into the mix a little bit later. And then we'll kind of get into the deeper brunt of the conversation. Don't let Kevin start.
I feel like we should try to, like, as often as we have genuine thoughts to intersect with each other, like we should be cutting each other off this whole, you know what I mean? Like someone should start, and then like when you ping, like if Vincent starts and then he pings on something that I have something to say about, I can jump in and then blah, blah, blah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Leslie, lead the way.
Oh, okay. So
Kevin, come back.
Running away.
He's probably like, who knows?
Not Kevin left because he couldn't start.
Look at these pillows, guys.
Kevin could never be my line leader in kindergarten.
It was good. I was turning my lights.
Wow, I forgot about line leaders, Matthew. Wow, that's a visceral nostalgia. Shout out to the last Bottomless episode. Yeah. Wow.
That was a good episode, y'all.
Okay, y'all. So I'll start off this story chain and then cut me off at any time. So we all met, from my perspective, in some sense related to Mana. I first met, I think, both Vincent and Kevin at the auditions for Rush. I think we all auditioned at the same time, unless, yeah.
Well, Kevin auditioned before us, I'm pretty sure. At least he auditioned before me. So maybe I was the last audition.
Rush came to perform at Jack Britt for a talent show. That's where you met me. I think Vince might have been on that performance. Vince, were you at Jack Britt, the talent show So that's where I met Leslie. So Leslie, it was just me and you that met first, I think.
And
Leslie, me and you met at Rush Club before the actual
You're right. The one that, our friends, David and Rachel led. So Rush Club it stood for Reaching the Unreached Student Harvest. So it was a Christian group. And I guess Kevin and I, the Harvest. We met there. And then there was
the high school that they both went to. They both went to the same high school.
Yep. So when I was like a freshman and Kevin was a senior. And then Vincent and I met at the Rush dance team auditions. And then the continued branches of those relationships that furthered was that I met Vincent again at like a forensic speech and debate tournament. And that was what I would
Matt is a stretch. She dissed me at a forensics tournament.
Okay, we've been through this.
But yeah.
So we saw each other again there, and then from there just kind of spiraled on into like becoming super close friends really quickly. And then Kevin went to Hot Topic, which is another Christian discussion group that my big brother started at the same high school where we discussed hot topics, and our t-shirt was green and had a bucket.
Me too.
I wish
Kevin went to Hot Topic, and
at
that's
the
where
Cross
I saw
Creek
him.
Mall.
He was shopping for a Jack Skellington keychain, and I was shopping for a post.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what's an example of a hot topic in that context? I'm curious.
I feel like we discussed things like, what's the Christian view on homosexuality? And like, what's the Christian view on like abortion? Taboos. Yeah, all those things are hot topics. Yeah. And our t-shirt.
Did you say you're in forensics too? Just getting the overlap. Come on, speech and debate.
You were?
Yeah,
what lane, Matthew?
So I was good at duo interpretation, and then I got bored because I didn't want to rely on other people all the time. So then I did impromptu speaking, and yeah, that's how I.
Those were two that I always wanted to try, but I never did. I was on the boring side. I did the debate side.
Oh, I couldn't do that. You
did Congress. I feel like that was the most boring one.
Yeah. Sorry, team.
We want to watch that.
Leslie.
The only time I watch debate is on Flavor of Love Girls Charm School.
Not the reunion special.
Okay, no, actually though.
Yeah, that was their task for the day.
I'm so mad. I recall the episode. I remember it because I remember Monique got into the Ratchet ones. Like, got into.
I don't think that you thought we were dating because you don't like me.
You better remember the episode.
Larissa, get angry. Excuse me, John. You should get angry.
Come through.
I've been binge watching it during quarantine. All the episodes are on YouTube.
Did you guys see that Chance from I Love New York or whatever has his own show on Zeus Network? It looks like the actual ghetto, which I'm here for it. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I saw the B Simone one. Do you want to be my boyfriend?
Oh, I only know her from Wildin' Out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Leslie.
I digress.
I mean to derail.
I'm here for this little bonding. Not just to fit. I mean, anyone can cut me off at any time, but my awareness of Matthew was sort of like introduced, I think maybe at some point when I was in college. I feel like I just was aware of your name, but never was quite sure like where in the matrix of all our interconnected relationships, you know what I mean? Like, so I knew you existed and like, but didn't. Yeah. And then today we're meeting. So, but yeah. Oh, and then Vincent and I have like stayed talking the whole time since we first met when we were both younglings. And then Kevin and I reconnected like earlier this year in 2020, which was great. I'm so glad that happened. Okay, nobody interrupted me. It looks like I've told the whole story. So.
Yeah, she got it covered. Next. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I'm trying to remember how Kevin and I met, and it's a little blurry. But I know that our actual friendship, my friendship with him, he hated me on the low, started with him when we did like an internship at our church after we had already been dancing together on the Rush dance team. So I'd already met him and Leslie. We danced together, did a few like come to Jesus dances. I thought we were, at least acquaintances. Then Kevin and I did a church internship for a year where I thought we were the goodest of buds. Turns out he secretly was harboring like a death plot against me, but we worked through it and we've been friends ever since. And I've been lucky to have been able to interact with both Leslie and Kevin pretty consistently over the past since college, I guess. Like, we might not talk every day, but I feel like we've had a continuous thread, which is special and not quite common with the amount of people that I left behind on the East Coast. And then Matthew, I don't know how we became friends because I definitely met you at a church in Fayetteville in passing, but then you started dancing at State with Fusion. So I feel like that might be how we became. I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah. So for me, wait, Kevin, go first because you go back far with everybody else.
Oh, wait. And I forgot one little important piece I forgot to say because it's fun. So Vincent and I also co-founded a little separate dance. Now that I think about it, were we trying to pull a coup like
not a
in
coup
broad
d'etat.
daylight?
Against Kevin because he was leading Rush dance team and we broke off and started our own.
I forgot that you but Kevin was also part of ours. So what does that say? But
it was
basically playing both sides.
We started another dance group with our other friend. And that was also part of, And Kevin would come and like, I think Kevin guest taught one time.
Twice, I think.
Yeah.
One for himself and one on behalf of somebody else where you taught their choreography.
Oh my gosh. We really, in my dream world, if COVID wasn't a thing, like we would all of us, Matthew, since you dance too, like take a dance class when we come home for the holidays. That would just be fun. Like I know we're all rusty and creaky, but
Definitely.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
No, Matthew's not rusty, so he's not invited.
False. Kavon.
Even
So to give context, like time context of how long it's been, like from today until the first person in this chat that I met. I'm currently 29. I met Leslie.
Damn, old. Sorry. Sorry.
Wait, how old are all of us?
I'm 21.
You're 29. You're 28.
Shut up, Vince.
I'm 26, close to 27. Matthew, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Shut the
baby.
Are you serious?
You're 23?
The baby.
Are you serious?
Get a
The
call.
Oh
baby.
my gosh.
The
That literally
baby.
sounds so young.
This is why I didn't want to do this question.
Tell us more about your life. I miss
Really?
really
I
Like to
haven't
have
lived the life
rosy-eyed
yet.
glasses that just protect you from all the evils of the world. Wow.
Who's the baby? Matthew's the baby.
Yo, he regrets inviting us. I swear to God.
So, Kevin, you old as fuck. Now tell us about how you knew everybody.
Oh, there I was, 17 years old, Jack Britt High School, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Why does it sound like
He
the
sips from
beginning
Bacardi.
fucking Moby Dick? So there I was.
And I was in the Christian after school group that was on the campus of the high school called Rush, which Leslie and Vince just described. Met Leslie there because she came to the group, I think, later on near the end of the school year. And then, of course, I ended up going to, like she said, another Christian group on campus. And then met Vince. I was in a dance club. Leslie was not yet in that dance club. That dance club ended up performing at the high school for a talent show. I think Leslie ended up getting plugged into the dance club from that.
And then what year was this? I'm sorry, I missed what year this was.
2009.
Yeah.
9. For reference, for context for everybody listening, in 2009, such great things were happening, like Obama's first year of the presidency, and When I Grow Up by the Pussycat Dolls.
And what grade were you in? Wait, for context, what grade were you in?
Second grade. Continue, Kevin.
And Drake dropped So Far Gone, best I ever had.
Hey.
So then I end up meeting Vince that same year because the same dance club that performed at the high school performed at the church where Vince was attending. Vince ended up getting plugged into the dance club from that performance at the church, and so that's where I met
What
Vince.
grade was I in? I'm sorry.
You would have been in like, I think 6th or 5th grade. I was in 9th grade in 2009. The second.
I can't think.
Who's the
2008,
baby?
2009, I was in 9th grade. So if you're 3 years younger than me, you would have been
In like 7th grade, 8th grade, maybe. I skipped a grade, so.
You're smart. Got it.
Wow.
Stop. I'm trying to place. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry. I'm interrupted.
I'm lit, so I'm just going to give like the actual stories.
Tell us. Talk to us.
Speak on it.
Leslie, I'm sorry in advance. So, Leslie, I have friends at the Christian Rush Club who go to the school and on the dance team, and then Leslie shows up, and I'm like, who is this cute Asian girl? So super crush on Leslie for like a good strong 2 years. She never wanted me, and then when I first met Vince, he literally walked into our church's sanctuary. I shit you not. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to imitate the noise because I have a deep reverence for gang culture. But Vince came in there making gang bird calls, like gang noises.
Why can I see this?
In the sanctuary, he had cargo shorts, flip flops, and a flannel shirt and a beanie, and he was making gang noises. And I was like, this is cool. And then so that's how I met Leslie.
You didn't think it was cool. You hated me, but go ahead.
You
thought it was ratchet
because he couldn't have you.
So
fair enough.
So I had a crush on Leslie. I had like Vince wasn't lying. I had a very
friend crush,
severe animosity on Vince. And then so there I was. We were at 71st High School watching one of our friends perform at a dance show. And there's don't ruin the story. Nobody say nothing. Nobody say nothing. So I'm sitting there, and I get to the 71st High School, and somebody walks up to me who's manning the tables with pamphlets, and they're like, "Are you Kevin?" And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, welcome. Like, yeah, this is the 71st XYZ. There's a pamphlet, yada, yada, yada. Like, really nice, kind of like the way like someone who's like in tune with how you're supposed to be as a welcoming team person to an event of like doing all the things. And I talked to him for a little while. Now, mind you, I'm like 21-year-old Kevin at this point, and I'm like, who's this weird person talking to me? And then I bolt to my seat.
Wait, 21 at high school?
He was there for the concert.
I was watching the concert.
You came back. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, did you go to 71st?
No, I went to Reed Ross.
No.
Oh.
Fam, we was that
Reed Ross
dance,
classical.
Dance and theater and art and forensics put all of us like all over.
Yeah, we was
all over different schools.
We was all over.
So then I'm sitting in there and I'm with my people. It's like I'm with everyone that we rush dance team, Mana. I'm with like, all my, and I'm dating this girl at the time who was cray. And then this same person who was on the welcome team was like making like the same person who had greeted me, gave me a pamphlet, was sitting in a row, I think either with me or behind me. And they were they were like doing commentary in their seat about the show. And it was the funniest shit in the world. Now, context, this person who was on the welcome team, who's now sitting in the row behind me, I had been told about by my peoples. My people's like, yo, there's this dude named Matt. He's cool. He draws, he dances, he sings, he does all this shit. And they came to me with that energy, and I was like, man, fuck this dude. He ain't that cool. Who this dude that just got all these skills and talents? So I made it up in my mind to not like him. So now when I came up, when he greeted me at 71st, I was like, oh shit, this is Matt. So I'm like, am I too cool for school? Don't want to be friends with nobody, head ass, waiting for my girlfriend to show up. I sit down, my girlfriend's there, I'm with my peoples. Matt is right in the row by behind us making commentary, and this motherfucker is like true to like Black culture and the dozens and just knowing how to cut ass. Like Matt is cutting ass in that row. Everything that's like embarrassing and funny to say about a dancer on stage, he's pointing out all the fuck ups and the flaws, and I am dying, but I'm trying not to laugh. And I'm like, all right, this is just like this motherfucker got to be my friend. He's too fucking funny. So the night goes on. I think we end up going somewhere else and hanging out and talking. And I end up seeing Matt, who was the person who welcomed me at the door, who sat in the row behind me, who was cutting ass and commenting all these dancers on stage all fucking night. It was like the most funniest shit I ever heard in my life. We end up like hanging out at different people's houses and just like different kickbacks. And eventually just was like, this motherfucker's cool and he's down and he's like a cool ass dude. And of course, like the way, of course, with us, the way like a friendship kind of really gets solidified, especially if you meet somebody in person, you're in the same city and hometown, is you add you on Instagram, and if you keep running in the same circles and you keep seeing each other, then eventually you kind of just keep meeting up. So that's how I met. And that was my context on Matt. So kind of similar with Vince. I was like bent on not liking Matt. I already didn't like Vince, and then I had a crush on Leslie.
You still not like? Do you not like me at 21?
So let me give context for Matt. At 20,
the rejection goes further than you even dreamed, Vincent.
No, I forgot. I think I liked Vince once we got out of our internship.
Kevin, do you like me right now? Are we friends? Let's just get it clear.
Yeah. I which is funny because I had a crush on Leslie, and then I didn't like Leslie for a long time just because she was affiliated and associated with people that I had a vendetta against. I won't say vendetta. Vendetta is a strong word.
I never heard about this.
And then Matt was like good from jump. But then me and Matt went through some rough patches, like he said. I get mad at people and don't tell them. So I had rough patches with Matt too, where I didn't like him at first. Then he was too fucking funny, and like Matt's just really, really likable. Matt can endear somebody to himself very quickly. So like it was futile to try to like not like Matt at first, and then there was other issues. But yeah, no. So I ended up liking Vince after the first year internship. I liked Leslie at first superficially. Then I didn't like her. Then I liked her again as like a friend, and then we reconnected. And then Matt was like, try not to like you, but I like you. And then we went through shit, but we're still here, and I still fuck with Matt.
That was beautiful.
That was an unanticipated journey.
Yeah. I don't know how I got thrown into all this stuff. Like, because I met everyone here through other people first. So for Kevin, he just told the whole story about 71st. Fun fact, I was not on the welcome committee. I was told to look for Kevin because I was invited by other people, but I got there first. And so I was like, nobody's here. And they said, oh, Kevin should be there soon. He's probably going to get there before we do. Look for Kevin. And I was like, I've never met Kevin. Who is that? And how am I supposed to be like, oh, hi, I was told to look for you? Because he's not going to expect it. He was like, oh, he's this Asian dude, but he's also Puerto Rican. So you'll know what that looks like. And I'm like, okay. But then sure enough, when he walked in, he was wearing all black with that thick ass black trench coat and didn't look like he wanted to talk to nobody. And he looked confused. And I was like, this is Kevin. And so that's what it was. I was like, hi, you must be like, are you Kevin? He's like, yeah. And I was like, ooh, this is going to take some work. But then I do what I do. Anybody that goes with me to any public event, and Vince, you know this from when we go to showcases and stuff, like if I'm in the audience and I'm watching something, all bets are off. Like I can't go to movies. I can't go to showcase. I can't do anything because I will I will comment. And it's just how I was raised. So that's how it was. And that's how I met Kevin, through other people. And then I met Vince. I don't remember meeting you in passing at that church, but that might have been because I wasn't paying attention. But I do know that after I was in college and started dancing with Fusion, I met you at like either a workshop or a performance, because everybody knew PG and everybody knew you on PG, and you were tight with Elliot and Gabe and all of them. So it was only natural that I had to meet one of the stars of the other teams from the other schools. So whenever I saw you, I was like, oh, that's Vince. And I was like, all right. So I had this mission when I was young in college to make friends with all the powerful people on the different teams, because that's how I was going to level up and become a better person and dancer myself.
Come on, calculation.
If I saw someone, I was like, oh, they're super talented, I was like, let me go ahead and try to talk to them and be their friend. And it worked. So I was like, oh, you're Vince. And you were like, I mean, yeah. And then you went back to like roasting somebody else. And I was like, this guy's funny. And then I found out
I was roasting people.
You're always roasting people. I don't know why you said it like that.
Talk about it.
I don't know that I've ever heard Vincent roast a person in my life. Why is this alternative?
I've just gotten very soft. I can't even imagine that anymore. I've gotten weak.
Matt, talk about it.
Always cracking jokes on people.
Talk about
jokes, yeah, but like never a serious feeling.
No, sometimes
Vince will make you cry.
Vince will start going on a roll.
Yes.
And like back
Vince
and
is
forth.
Worse than 6'9". Vince is worse than 6'9".
Not 6'9".
If Vince gets in a back and forth with people, he will just go, and it'll be just one after the next. And I was like, damn, I need to learn from this man. It'd be like, damn, okay, I see you. You better say this is my solo, even though everybody else is on the stage at the same time. You better not know where your spot is. Okay, freestyle in the middle of your set.
Yes.
Okay, this is my piece, but I'm gonna do the worst on the stage. That's fine. Okay, choices.
To the brown mouthwash podcast. You don't understand how happy I am to be here right now, because on our podcast.
Oh, I think we understand how happy you are.
Yeah, I think we understand.
On the Bottomless podcast, like Matt is one of the missing pieces, because the context he is providing in on Vince erases any ability to gaslight. And Vince has a very keen ability to act a certain way if other people are around. And so it's like someone.
Are you calling me fake?
Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it right now.
It's like if me, Vince, and Leslie are siblings, and Leslie's like the good sibling. And so Vince will like beat me up when Leslie's not looking. And then when Leslie turns around, I'm like, Leslie, he beat me up. And Leslie's like, what? And Vince is smiling.
Let it go, Elsa. I haven't beat anybody up anytime recently.
Vince is smiling with a hat with a little spinner on top.
We have evolved. We have elevated. We have matured.
And so literally, like, it's almost like I spent 20 years in prison for something I was falsely accused of, and now Matt comes to the stand and it's like, Your Honor.
Well, you don't even like me, so good thing I did. Good thing I did.
Oh no, yo, this is the last time we'll all speak ever. Okay, this is the implosion of both of our podcasts. We can talk about this later, Kevin.
So I just want to say to the brown mouthwash, thank you for Matthew Wright, because he is on the stand and he is about to get me out of
this prison. Y'all set me up. This is a setup. A setup.
Oh my gosh.
Set you up like they set up Shatara in Charm School by hiding that picture under that girl's bed.
And it worked.
Oh, yeah. So that's how I met Vince, and then I found out that he was from Fayetteville, and then I found out he knew Kevin and Anthony and everybody else that from.
Wait, Matt, you didn't meet Vince until you were already at NC State. So while you were in Fayetteville before, when you were at Reed Ross,
apparently they did meet at Matthew,
but in passing,
Matthew.
And to be fair, I think when I met you, that was towards the end of my Mana career, and I was on some no new friend shit, so I probably wasn't as talkative as I would have been otherwise. I think I was already over Mana.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone listening.
I didn't know that Vince was from Fayetteville until I was already in college.
Crazy.
So I met him in context of that team in Wilmington. And then he's like, yeah, I'm from Fayetteville. Yeah, I know Kevin and everybody. I was like, what? Y'all know each other? He's like, yeah, we danced each other before. And I was like, what? So I'm in this Venn diagram of people that are already connected. And I'm like,
Matt, what year is this? What year is this when you're in college and you finally meet Vince? We're in 2020 now. What year is this that you finally meet Vince at NC State?
14, 15.
Wow. Okay.
I'm thinking 15, 16. I think
So
No. I graduated 15. You're right. Yeah. 14 sounds right.
Yeah. Because I got to State fall 14. So between then and 2015, when all this transpired, and then that's when I met like Gabe and found out he also knew all of y'all and was from Fayetteville, but I didn't meet him until I was at a workshop in Raleigh, and I was upset because nobody told me about y'all people. And then there was that workshop that I hosted over the summer where all of y'all were there. And I saw Kevin teach something for the first time. And
the 2-6 workshop.
Yeah, the 2-6 intensive. And I still have a video
that
of
you
Vince
put on,
doing
Matt?
Huh?
Matt, that you put on?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He's a superstar. Boop, boop, boop. All right. But yeah. And then I met Leslie today. But it was a similar of like I'd always heard Leslie's name, but was never given any context on who she was other than, Rush, Mana. I'm like, okay. So.
And it's a delight.
It's so great. You're such a pleasant person. And I love that. I will say, especially with Kevin and Vince, they don't hold unpleasant company. And if it's there, they don't last.
They were both getting so defensive. Did you see that? They were both
they were both so ready.
I was ready.
They were both so ready.
What now?
Oh, that's another thing, audience. Like Vince, if you know him, he was always ready to fight for any reason. Like in true Fayetteville fashion, he's trained to go. Like somebody be like, okay, Vince. He'd be like, what? I'm tired. Let's go. Like, I'm like, Vince, I was going to compliment you. Oh, thanks.
You stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
I guess.
I feel like he was always joking, though.
No. I literally watched Vince put head.
You're a little biased, Kevin, to be fair.
No. I watched Vince. Like Leslie says, joking. I watched Vince. Now, mind you, the people he did this with, he was like, they're friends and they do this as like roughhousing. I watched Vince put head, shoulders, knees, and toes on several.
Vincent, you're on mute.
Oh, no, I was just mouthing. We were roughhousing, a.k.a. joking, but carry on.
But Vince would like dead ass swing on you and fight you.
Would you? Is this accurate, Vincent? Have you ever been in a fight?
No, I am a lover, not a fighter.
You fought Brendan Allspock in the parking lot of Pizza Hut and Hope
They're
Mills.
Wow, with these receipts
that's a joke.
Leslie.
Wait, so there is truth. I'll give you your props.
He punched them on the face. He would punch them on the head and face.
Back of the head, maybe. I wouldn't punch them in their face.
Okay.
Where's the video? Where's the receipt? CVS. I need a receipt. A long one. No, okay. So to give credit, I would jokingly fight only if I knew like it would have been received well. I never really hit Kevin because I've seen someone else I was friends with hit Kevin and it didn't end well. And he knows what I'm talking about probably at the beach. But anyways, so I would do that if I knew I had license.
Yeah,
I used to have a more rowdy sense of humor. I mean, I still have it, but I'm not going to hit anyone because if they hit me back too hard, we're going to be fighting for real.
Yo, real quick. Let me hijack this moment. Like, because I just think it's so cool that like we're all from Fayetteville and that's the connection, right? Like the reason, like I think we're all able to be so like on this podcast and fuck with each other on a heavy level is because of Fayetteville, because we come from Fayetteville, and especially because a lot of us know communities of people in dance, like from Charlotte, from Durham, from Raleigh. And I got connected to hella people because of Vince from PG and Wilmington. I come out there and he showed me the people from Wilmington. And I know the only reason I know Elliot is because of Matt. I came up to see Matt perform at Packapalooza, and he introduced me to Avi, to Elliot, to Susan, to a bunch of these people from Fusion. So like hell, like it's just so. And I just want to say like, because Fayetteville literally doesn't have, and now it's starting to has an IMAX, but Fayetteville at the time when we were all there didn't have shit. But I always tell people when I go around, like, oh, you're from Fayetteville? And like, I always tell people, yeah, I don't fuck with the city, but I fuck with Fayetteville because of the people. Like my heart is there, who I love is there, who I've spent my life with is there. And so that's the crazy thing about Fayetteville is like, it's unassuming, you would never think. But man, if you just plug into the city and you find the right pockets of people, you can find like the most beautiful communities of artists and dancers who are interconnected throughout like the Southeast region just from being in Fayetteville.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I wanted to give a little Fayetteville shout out too, since it kept coming up. I was just gonna say, like, I definitely like, especially if in the future this does ever pick up, right? And we're out. Like, I would definitely love to have said this early. Like, I think Fayetteville gets such a bad rap, and I understand why. But also, like, yeah, I mean, I worked there after college and worked for like a grassroots publication, and through that connected with so many different communities. And it's like, man, like, it's not about the infrastructure you're given. It's about what you do with it. And like Kevin's saying, like the people, right? So we love you, Fayetteville.
2-6.
And yes, that was very true. And I will say, like, the fact that even though I met Kevin in Fayetteville, I met Vince and Leslie like outside of that, but it was because of those roots. So shout out to people who are from the city, leave, but come back in some way. You know what I'm saying? Not saying we moved or anything, but we still acknowledge the ties that we had. And I think that every place doesn't have that kind of energy. So I don't know, it's great. And kind of circling back to the core of the conversation, like that speaks to the relationships that we've built from there and from such a young age, 10 plus years ago, and are still maintaining or still, you know, finding that it evolves in different kinds of ways. And I think that for the most part, and Kevin spoke to this in different ways, is like each relationship goes through its own sets of ebbs and flows. But the ones that stick through it have such a rich story, and even ones that fall by the wayside here and there, like there's such rich narrative there that shapes how not only we evolve as people going forward, but also how we interpret and build future relationships moving on, you know? Because I think that I wouldn't, and I don't know this for sure, obviously, but I don't think I would have had as strong a connection with Kevin if Kevin didn't have a similar kind of connection with the people that he met me through, you know. And I wouldn't have related to Vince as well on the basis of dance or, you know, team or everything if he didn't already have a connection with people on my team that, you know, we connected with. And Leslie and I would like to say that we clicked pretty instantly whenever we, you know, hopped on the Zoom call and everything, and even chatting before this, we recorded this. But I think a lot of that is because we know that our mutuals have this kind of relationship, so we trust that foundation.
Yes, it's like you have like you have a pre-established level of like, I trust you because people I really trust you, and like I, you know, vibe with you because people I really true.
So it's a beautiful thing, and I think people take it for granted or don't pay attention as much as they should to how those kinds of connections are built. But like it's literally in the fabric of how we learn and how we associate with people and how we, you know, move through life. So shout out to all of you guys just for being how you are and being so open and receptive and evolved as you are, even though there's, you know, so much more for each of us to still discover. So
man, this is great, Matthew. I am vibing with everything you're saying.
Yeah,
so like
that.
Oh yes,
thank you so much.
We'll have to circle back. Yeah,
with that being said, I think it's a beautiful time to take a break for a word from our sponsors.
You said You said you better have sponsors, or are you just flexing?
We don't have sponsors, so we're
I've watched this show before, so I knew
You
it was
said
coming.
sponsor.
I was
So
waiting.
good. I love that.
Oh, I was about to give you a couple of my check.
So the next segment we have is called the Gargle. And that is whenever we have advice/Q&A. If you have advice or Q&A, please send them to brownmouthwash@gmail.com or inbox us at brownmouthwashpod on all social media platforms. Actually, it's just two, Instagram and Facebook. Don't do me on Twitter because we're not there. So advice. We did get one question from Brittany. You might remember her from
Brittany.
Shout out Brittany.
Brittany, that's my choreographer.
Yo, hold on. No. Shout out Kayla and Brittany, because those are the two beautiful Black women that I remember seeing at NC State with Fusion when Matt introduced me, and they were hella welcoming and hella warming and hella inviting.
Hella talented.
So like, yeah, and I just remember thinking like these beautiful Black women that Matt is like connected with at this university. So like, and they dance really, really well. So like, shout out to them and shout out to Fusion and shout out to that whole crew.
They were
but on that note, never mind. Never mind.
No. Say it. What's up? We wild today. What? I got drink today. What's up? Say it.
Me too. I've been having too many swishes. I was gonna start the pot with Kayla a little bit and ask her about her hashtag KNLA, but I digress.
Branique has said, what is everybody doing for self-care? I will start by saying, Kevin, we already heard your story at the beginning, and
Vince ain't doing shit. Vince is out here wilding in LA, letting his soul deteriorate away.
Not deteriorate.
I'm sorry.
Not deteriorate. He's sitting in heaven right now. Like,
amen.
So, personally,
amen, brother.
I actually got the Fenty Skin starter kit. And because, I love me some Rihanna as well. And she was like, skin. And I said, well, of course. So I got the
literally
little starter
one of the
kit.
most beautiful people.
Period.
Like otherworldly. Yeah.
It's not fair. Ever since 2005, when Ponte Replay dropped, I said, yes. She was up there with Beyonce for me. And, Beyonce run deep for me. You know what I'm saying? So
I finally watched Black is King. Wow. I know I'm late. Oh, Vincent, if you want to fill your soul up with transcendent beauty, you should watch it.
That's what I did for self-care. I watched Black is King as well.
Oh, yeah. So good. Sorry, go ahead though.
But the thing is, I got this Fenty Skin thing, and I mean, I've been using it and stuff, and I think my skin is okay, I guess. But like, maybe it take more than that, because I expected to, use it for a weekend and just come out like the Umbrella music video. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't happen.
Not Umbrella music video. I'm so upset. Not those. All right.
But that's what I've been doing for self-care, I guess, trying to get this skin to look like something.
That's such a real thing, investing in skincare for sure.
I need to do that. The one perk of having a beard is that you can't see, but I actually have a really gnarly breakout right here, but no one can tell because I keep my mustache and beard nice and full.
Rich.
What about you guys? Vincent, Kevin?
Well, apparently I'm not doing shit according to Kevin, but
it's because I can't say it's because I can't say jokes from our group chat of what me and JoJo say you do in LA a lot.
Y'all, I mean, keep saying it, manifest it so that it actually happens. But to let you guys down, to let it know it's not as exciting as what they pontificate in our group text. I started journaling this fall, which has been a great form of like mental health self-care, which I really appreciate. And I'm going to disconnect a lot when I go to North Carolina. I'm probably going to be off social except to share bottomless clips or any other projects I do. But I'm going to try and extract myself from some of the noise that is going on. So I think just being proactive and setting time for yourself has been my MO, or my attempted MO.
Are you journaling in a physical journal? Or are you like doing on like Google Docs and like, that way?
Physical journal.
No, I think big. Vince said y'all thinking too small.
Accurate. For me, I'm also journaling, but not as much like writing down all my thoughts all the time, as much as like just different. So like a few things I have is, about bullet journaling, like where you kind of list, there's a bunch of different things you could do with it. But like one thing I've done is not even listing things I want to do every day. Those are some of them, but also just things I do. So that way I can see like what I'm doing over the course of a month, like, so not even things I want to do, but just like things that happen, what's so funny?
Because you said you weren't thinking of things you want to do, but the things that you do, and my mind was like,
why
this
do
is what I do.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of that Tim song. Why do I do the things I do? Isn't that?
Hey.
Thank you for tuning into the Brown Mouthwash podcast. Please subscribe on YouTube and Instagram.
To finish my self-care speech, I'm also like, I have a column for sad thoughts and happy thoughts. Again, that way I don't just like try to uplift myself, but like every time I write down a sad thought just to like get it outside of just swirling around in here, I also write down one thing I genuinely like, a genuinely happy thought. So that, and then also just kind of like filling myself up with really uplifting, engaging content. So like I've been watching Cosmos, which is like genuinely, like last night I rewatched an episode, the newest episode, season 3, episode 7. I highly recommend it to everyone. I think the episode title is The Search for Intelligent Life, but I watched it like 2 nights ago, and then I watched it again last night because it's so rich, like, and it doesn't just engage your mind, it engages like your heart and your soul, and like, it's knowledge, but it's also like connecting things in a way that I think regular like National Geographic shows that just talk on one lens about the natural world really fail to do. Like it really, it's just like so beautiful. So stuff like that I try to make time for too. And like, as far as like with the election coverage, I try to make time to listen to the Tightrope podcast, which has Dr. Cornel West, which Vincent got me onto him. And then I think her name is Patricia Rose. Yeah, Patricia Rose. So just like hearing their commentary really fills me up. So you know what I mean? Like just absorbing, like really engaging, uplifting content too.
Just to echo the Tightrope recommendation, not to like turn identity into this, but such a good podcast for 2 very wise, experienced, and well-respected Black intellectuals and writers. So,
and just
so
like
good.
Compassionate, right? Like so compassionate, like not just really smart, but like a searing level of both like intelligence and compassion, right? Like, So same with Neil deGrasse Tyson on Cosmos. Like when he speaks, it's just like he's not doing a facade. It's like, like seriously, everybody please watch the most recent episode, please. Because it's just so good and so good for right now. It puts things in such a context that's not just like, oh, did you know we're like a little speck in the universe? Like everybody knows that, but the connections between like us and the other life forms on Earth,
I love that,
Kevin.
And if y'all are looking for something that's less of that, I recommend listening to the Read.
Oh yeah.
By Kid Fury and Crystal, and they're just amazing. Like if you think that like the random commentary that comes out of our podcast is something, like the Read is it. They just go in on everything, and I love it.
Listen.
Yeah, they have different quips, and they do talk about a lot of like therapy and mental health and everything like that, especially in our communities, or Black communities, and then the LGBTQ plus communities specifically, which I think is really great that they're advocates for it. But everything else, like they just cussing, throwing shade, and talking shit, and I love that. So I'll put that on at work, and I probably shouldn't do that. Not because I'm at work, but because I be laughing at stuff at work. So imagine like you sitting there and you're doing stuff, and all of a sudden you just hear, and they're like, I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. It's the Rona. Ignore me. Yeah, that's what I recommend.
Oh, sorry. I have one more I have to say for posterity. also just like, yeah, putting in, like filling myself not just with like that kind of content, but like really good art. Like I read the weekend before election week, I read half of Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Yeah. And I had never read it, right? Like that was required reading for a lot of people in high school, but for whatever reason, it hadn't been on my list. And I'd always wanted to and been intrigued by what I had heard about just like her legacy as an author and how she was received in her time versus like now she has this towering legacy and has like impacted like so many like current Black woman authors cite her as like this fundamental influence. And so I like tore through half of it before election week started, and genuinely I can say like her just absorbing that her creation like filled me up with so much, like it helped keep me above like all the stress and everything, because you know it's just so like there's a certain point of craft that somebody has like where you can feel it, right, no matter what the medium is, that when you fill yourself up with that, it like just is transcendent and magical and so powerful. And so then I finished that like throughout election week, and then read like the afterword, which gets more into the nitty gritty of like how she was received in her time and what she had to say about like her vision and goals and how she went about wanting to give the messaging that she gave. So yeah, anyway, I had to also say that, right? Like just absorbing art that you're drawn to and that someone's taken the time to like birth. I think, you know, you can't speak to it enough, like how essential it is to getting through tough times.
Well,
I love that. See, the stuff that Leslie be talking about made me feel like I'm like, what is my IQ? Because right now it's running at about like a 6. I don't like. You be talking about like I tore through, and this isn't even shade. This is more shade on me than anything. But like, you're talking about all these great pieces of work that you've been, you know, reading, and all of this like insightful, cerebral thing, all of the great things you've just been immersing yourself in. I'm sitting here like, shit, I just binge watched Charm School on YouTube, and
ain't nothing wrong about Charm.
Yeah,
like I liked the episode when New York came back and interviewed all of them, and they ain't know, and like, dang.
I will give Leslie a shout out because I feel like one thing she does that is a self-care tip is that I feel like, well, part of me disconnecting is that I feel like I consume a lot of media, like a lot of media, but there's a lot of like empty calorie media that I consume, like a lot of like Twitter headlines or like gossip, shit that I like don't really care about. It doesn't really edify me in any way. So I feel like a part of self-care and disconnecting is not disconnecting entirely, but reconnecting with things that like give you substance and fulfill you, which I feel like Leslie is very intentional about the content that she consumes, which I admire. And I hope that I can do while I'm on my little digital sabbatical.
Well, Vincent helped me reconnect with more, so to speak, empty calorie consumption. That sounds bad, but no, like it's so true. Like, you know, because he's always been more open to that type of thing. And I think I cut my own foot off by being too harshly against that. And there's a lot of beauty there too, right? So like, shout out to you, Matthew. Like, I agree. Like, there's nothing wrong with binging stuff that's like not the same category as what I was talking about. And I do that too. And also, yeah, no, like, don't think that there's more than there is here, because that's the first time I've tore through a book that fast in years. Like, you know, and that was part of what made it so like amazing, because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm remembering my like voracious love of reading that I had as a kid, right? Like, because lately it's like all I read are like nonfiction, like trying to learn about stuff, but this is just like a beautiful piece of fiction that speaks to truths that you can't get in nonfiction. And like, anywho, yeah. So all that to say, there's both, right? Like you need both.
Yeah. We love a balanced diet. Also, we're going to be publishing a brown mouthwash word bank after, so you guys can pick up all the $5 words that we've said in the course of this episode. Some highlights that I've noticed just so far: sabbatical, voracious,
so
pontificate was a good one. Edify, it was great. I don't know.
Like these are all very Christianese, to be honest.
Yes. And ha from Kevin.
Hey. So
pick up volume 1 at the conclusion of this episode. But But no, for real, thank you guys for sharing your self-care tips, and hopefully
wait, Kevin didn't share. Why does this always
I thought he was gonna let us keep moving. Like,
Poor Kevin.
Because I knew Kevin was gonna say some
Kevin stays so quiet.
Well, he stays hidden in his fucking igloo. Wait, can I say the F word on here?
I mean, Kevin's done it for 40 times already.
Oh, okay,
so
okay. All right, just making sure.
What you doing, Kevin? How you take care of yourself, Kevin?
How are you taking care of yourself?
How are you taking care of yourself, Kevin?
How are you taking care of yourself?
Journaling, meditating, your video journaling specifically, meditating, and then writing poetry.
She is where tricks and treats abide. Like, you thought I was gonna do the whole thing, huh? You were ready, boy. I tell you, boy. Oh, hey. Caught him off guard, boy. See, I'm paying attention. I'll be doing my homework. Yup.
What's the spit? Is there a spit?
Oh yeah, that's actually our next thing. So the next thing is called the spit. And the spit is where we just, throw out any random thoughts, things just kind of come up that you just need to spit out. Personally, I kind of talked about mine earlier about the Charlie Brown thing, but one thing that I thought was interesting is like the whole concept of like you end up chasing what you run from. And that came up to me like randomly.
Matthew said, let me drop something heavy real quick. No warning. Got it.
Right at the end.
Got it.
We all got convicted at the same moment.
If y'all are watching, y'all saw their faces just now. Everybody was like, shit.
It's Kevin's friendship story with you, Matthew, and with Vincent. You end up chasing what you run from. Mm-hmm.
Drops mic. Disconnects.
Why was that on your mind? Does it connect to a specific situation in your life right now?
I don't know. It might have been in a Tyler the Creator song. It just randomly came up, but then I just thought about it. Like it was one of those shower thoughts moments where I was just like, well, hot damn, that's true.
What have you been chasing?
I don't know. I've been doing nothing.
What have you been running from?
I don't know. Too many things to count. So, but I mean, it's true. If you think about it, like, I think it speaks to that whole idea of like, sometimes we try so hard to not be something or to not do something. It's the same thing of like, I don't want to grow up to be like my parents. And then we dwell on the things that our parents did that we didn't like, so much so that you unconsciously start following and doing those same things, maybe in a different kind of way, but those same things. So I just made me really like ponder like how people do that. I actually, okay, I guess this does tie to something. So in group discussions, sometimes there'll be that person that is like, I don't like this, that, and the third. I don't like this group dynamic because I feel like people always, talk too much or say too many things or don't say enough that's of substance. And then they get so adamant about people talking too much and not holding space that they end up becoming someone that's talking a lot and shutting people out that are on the opposite end of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Not accidentally.
I've definitely done that.
Now Leslie.
Self-identify.
Not to make it about me. Sorry, God.
No. But no, like it's that kind of thing. So I don't know why that came up to me, but that whole concept of you end up chasing what you run from is very, very interesting.
Well, shit, I ain't got nothing to spit after that. Dang.
Yep. I feel like I'm gonna be thinking about that for the rest of the episode.
Are you looking for inspo, Leslie?
Yeah.
Wait, are we supposed to like tag on? Are we supposed to add on to Matt's spit, or are we supposed to come up with our own spit?
Oh, you can come up with your own thing. It's just, this is literally a time for random thoughts. It could be one-liners for all I care.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at my deep.
Are we thinking like a rant, or are we just thinking like something that's on top of mind? That's
rant, but just like, I think of like hits, blunt moments.
Right.
Like.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I love the structure you built.
Thanks.
Well, Leslie can build on this. I think you said it, but the first thing that I popped up when I opened my journal was like embracing the day-to-day and engaging the mundane. And I feel like that came, Leslie said something about a blade of grass, and that kind of, do you know what I'm talking about? Forever that stuck with me. So can you repeat it? Because I forget what exactly you said.
Well, it's funny you said that, because that was one of the things I was thinking about saying. Not the blade of grass, but it connects to the sentiment of engaging fully with what is and what could be. But what I said was, like, if you engage fully with a blade of grass, like, you know, you've got all the five senses, but then you've also got like engaging with what's going on a zooming in level, like the processes, like, right, the photosynthesis happening, like a blade of grass in relation to a field. Like, you can, if you just engage with anything, like actually fully, it is everything. Like it opens up. It's just endless. There's so much in life. There's so much beauty. That's it.
That is true though, because sometimes I be engaging with real mundane stuff. Like I be watching My 600-Pound Life, and I be real invested in that show, and I don't know why, but it always happens to be when I'm eating dinner. So I be feeling bad because like I'm sitting there with a meal watching these people.
Not feeling bad when you skinny head ass.
But I mean, I be there like,
right.
Or I be looking at the ceiling. You know how the ceiling, well, depending on what house you got, it got like the little spattery speckle thing.
That reminds me of the meme that was like, if you got spatters in your ceiling, don't worry about Joe Biden's tax plan. Like, you're good.
I saw that.
You're good. Trust me. You're good.
See, those are the gems I used to miss out on back before like Vincent paved the way for me to like, I don't know, like get on Twitter, like that kind of thing, you know, like, and thank you.
But yeah, that's what I be thinking about.
Talk to us, Kevin.
So what was your thought, Vincent, though? Sorry, like you asked me and I kind of said my thing, but like, was it just basically that sentiment?
Yeah, I was just like trying to make sure that I'm doing that consistently, especially I feel like the culture in Los Angeles, there's a lot of shiny things. So I feel like a lot of my day-to-day is like being just caught by this shiny thing or that. The beauty of getting out will be to really focus on how to engage with the mundane, and not just like a mundane objects, but the mundane that's in like my relationships, like sitting with my parents or like my friends all day and doing nothing, but still finding that fulfilling.
Oh, I like that. What you got for us, Kevin? You look like you've been waiting.
Wait, did Leslie go? Leslie didn't go.
Yeah, but you always go last, so you should go.
Damn. So
Drama.
as of late, so I'll tell you where these two where this idea came from before I say the idea. So I was watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion episode on HBO Max where Will Smith had to sit down. Damn, I'm so upset I can't remember her name, but it's the original Aunt Viv from seasons 1 through 3. And if you pay attention and you follow the storyline outside of the actual series about how the original Aunt Viv got off the show, and there was this whole drama about conflict between her and Will. And so they had this really beautiful moment where they sat down, they talked, and they forgave each other and had this beautiful like reunion where him and her kind of talked through like, this is what I was going through as a human being, Will. And then Will was like, this is what I was going through as a human being, as an immature 21-year-old who was so afraid of life and XYZ. And then, so there was that moment of like 53-year-old Will Smith and the however old that original actress is, who played Aunt Viv in seasons 1 through 3, having this beautiful moment of forgiveness and love and reconciliation. And then this past couple of days ago, for those of you who like pay attention to like rap music and hip hop culture, two people, Young Jeezy and then Gucci Mane,
not the versus battle,
had a versus. And mind you, there was so many things that were like just like very hard to stomach about that battle. But the fact that two grown men who have a lot of issues between them because of death, because of rivalry, because of tension, because of
literally death, like literally
death. We're able to sit in a room together, and even though there was still a level of animosity in the room and things said that, you know, were hard to stomach, the fact that at least the step forward of them being able to be in the room together to show some level of like ceasefire or some level of I can at least be in the room with you. And so I was sitting there, and those two moments were the Young G's and the Gucci Mane moment, and then the Will Smith and the Aunt Viv moment were like these commercial happenings that were confirmation for what I already had been mulling over in the past couple of years of my life, which was for my personal story, I'm not saying this has to be true for anyone else. For Kevin Ortiz's personal story, I directly correlate evolution with forgiveness. So like in life, as I'm growing up, as I'm getting older, I know I'm evolving. The faster I'm able to forgive somebody, the quicker I'm able to forgive truly everything in my life, the more I realize I'm evolved.
How do you define forgiveness?
Like you genuinely don't harbor any negative feelings towards that person. Like it doesn't have, and forgiveness, because forgiveness doesn't have to mean reconciliation. For me, in a lot of ways, it is equaling out to reconciliation. So like for actually all three of these people know, like I just recently reconciled with JoJo. And for a long time, me and JoJo, I had very harsh animosity. So for how I define forgiveness, literally charging that person with no wrong, actually being able to search your heart and seeing that in your heart, because you used to have a relationship with this person, you actually wish well for this person in life. So number one, not having any deficit towards this person or negative or animosity towards this, or having any malintent towards this person, but also you can actually conjure it up in your heart to wish well, to genuinely, whether you're religious, you pray well for this person, or whether you're non-religious, you're actually able to genuinely wish well for this person and want well for this person because you guys used to have a relationship. So I'm just thinking about this idea of like, you know, we're all in our either early to mid to late 20s. And I think
early 30s for you.
One of the things that I try to constantly do is I try to ask 96-year-old Kevin, hey, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And one of the constant thematic motifs through my life from 17, from 14, from now being 29 years old, one of the constant things of my life that 96-year-old Kevin keeps telling me is, like, we're not getting past this forgiveness issue. Like, you know, like it's such a popular thing right now to be talking about like self-care or evolution or love or leveling up or glowing up. And I think Vince can resonate with that idea, because living in LA, it's all about glowing up or being booked and busy or getting to the next level or bossing up or being a boss. And I just, for me,
gold or gold paint.
I'm not nobody's celebrity. I'm not nobody special. I'm my offering to this conversation this week prior to Thanksgiving is I encourage anyone and everyone to reconceptualize glowing up, bossing up, leveling up, as in the context of, man, being truly evolved, of leveling up, bossing up, glowing up, is like truly trying to like forgive people in your life, things in your life, whether that be yourself or other people, and truly trying to like have love and trying to grow your capacity for love. And again, I'm not talking about reconciliation. I'm talking about like really doing an inventory of your heart and trying to reckon with the things where you may not be able to wish well for people, and furthermore reckoning with the things where you may actually where you may be in the dark or hiding some resentment or issues towards people. So yeah, as a spit, like that's idea. Again, going back to the original statement, my spit is I have a direct correlation between, like, 96-year-old Kevin is saying 29-year-old Kevin does not evolve without your ability, your capacity to forgive and to love growing. So until that plant grows bigger and stronger and with an ability to bear more burden and grief, without you being able to handle people violating you, wronging you, doing wrong by you, and you being able to truly harbor no ill will towards them and wishing well for them, and then also going back and retroactively fixing, at least in your heart, all the issues of that people have maybe have done wrong by you, at least in your perception. And so that is the terrain of your life, then you aren't evolving. So yeah, just as a correlation between evolution and forgiveness and love.
Yeah. I will say, to give Lil Kev some credit, I feel like no one embodies the forgiveness as an ethos in 2020 as Kevin. I feel like I've seen you be so empathetic with people. And if Kevin, who hated me the first decade of our friendship, can be forgiven people left and right, it's like, what am I doing? I have no excuse. Literally in 2020, right. Kevin was forgiveness.
Right. That fade had him acting up.
Thank you.
Our forgiveness king.
Come on, forgiveness. Yeah, I'm still working on that. Personally, like, on the, just really quickly, with forgiveness specifically, I actually had a conversation with somebody about this earlier today. I found that, like, I'm naturally a very forgiving person. Like, I mean, it's not that things don't affect me, but I don't find it hard to forgive people. But I have found recently that sometimes I've fallen into indifference. And I don't know if that counts for me as forgiveness, because I know that like just because I don't care anymore and I'm not giving energy to something or someone doesn't necessarily mean that I've forgiven them. And that's something that I've only been faced with recently that I'm still kind of trying to wrestle. So I think while you are finding that forgiveness is a catalyst for evolution, I'm finding that forgiveness isn't like it's different from getting over something and moving past something. And I don't know, I guess I'm redefining what forgiveness actually is for me whenever you're kind of discovering how that is for you. So forgiveness is something, look, I don't know how Jesus did it, but
couldn't have been me.
They put the right man in that book, because if Matthew Wright was there, okay.
Do you feel like you're moving more toward forgiveness rather than indifference, because it's like to have indifference, you have to sort of shut down parts of your heart?
I think so.
Not to make it too heavy once again.
No.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
I appreciate the question. I think for me, like, I'm good for a deep conversation. That's my thing. I think Matthew for me,
said, why are you splashing around in the shallow end with these piddly?
we were talking about the balanced diet.
You're right. This has been a good balance.
So I can't go too deep. But no, I think like I find that I've become indifferent to certain things because there are parts of the situation or whatever that I might not be at a place to forgive yet, but I have to keep moving. You know what I'm saying? So as someone who's bad at not giving energy to things all the time, that was something that I just kind of found for myself without intending to. And then whenever it comes back up, I realize like I actually haven't forgiven this thing. I've just kind of grown in indifference. So it's not that I have negative feelings. I just don't have feelings toward it right now. So but then I wonder, like, is that something that's going to hinder me in the long run, or does everything have to be forgiven for it for you to still move forward? I don't know.
Wow. Well, I don't even know how to say it, but I really appreciate that whole thought train, and I'm going to chew on it. My spit is that a combination of two quick things. One that I've just been thinking a lot, just being totally honest. And I think this will continue to unfurl, but I'm just like very, very grateful that I deconstructed like prior to COVID hitting. I really think that my deconstruction and the way that it affected me, which was, there's definitely hard parts, but just like so much more freedom of thought and mind and everything really has helped me get through this whole thing. So I've been thinking about that. And then kind of like related, kind of, but also kind of its own thing. I've just been thinking how like I really across the board in life, like in relationships, whether any expression, right, of like love between people, like any relationships, I want to be with people that you want to look forward and outward together instead of like more and more and more like into each other. And especially, I guess it applies a lot in like romantic relationships, where like the whole thing is just about you two building your little empire that's so sucked up in each other, as opposed to like enjoying, like together looking outward. And like, of course you have to like, but that applies to any relationships, right? And it's not that I don't enjoy obviously like looking into people and like, but just the engine, right, being not like focused on like just I don't know, right? Like we've all seen it. It kind of like the worst example is toxic relationships, right? Where it's just like the whole thing is just like you get more and more sucked into like, well, how can I please them? And like, what can I do? And it's just like also self-centered. And like, it's like, oh my God, there's like a literally like endless amounts of stuff out there. And we only have like 80 to 90 years and we'll never get to like know and experience it all. So why wouldn't you want to like surround yourself with people who like together collectively, because you're all like looking out together, like you get to share that richness with each other, because also like you know, someone over here like Vincent and Kevin and you, Matthew, like you all have experiences and knowledge and ways of absorbing that, like through my relationships with you, I then get to, instead of like, well, what we get out of this is like just getting sucked into each other only, you know, like, and our narrow perceptions. Yeah. So
I hate when couples like you do what you do. What you do is what you do. That's your business. But I can't stand whenever couples get so like into each other that the whole world disappears. So that whenever they like, if they do break up or something like that, all of a sudden they forget all of their friends and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I know a few people.
Mass taking shots at me.
Kevin.
Because when I broke up with that crazy girl, I disappeared on everybody because they were still hanging out with her, and I told them to cut her off. I'm sorry, this is not the Bottomless or the Kevin Ortiz podcast. Brown Mouthwash, continue.
Bottomless heartbreak.
But that's your business. That's your business. But the thing is, like, even whenever you were in that relationship, it's not like you forgot that we existed. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were still able to see you or hang out with you or whatever. I mean,
that's why we broke up, because she was like, y'all, you two in love with your homeboys. I was like,
which is so toxic.
Yeah, that's super toxic.
But yeah, so since we already kind of started.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Again,
Exhibit A.
Look at Vince gaslighting the woman, the one woman.
No.
Don't try and turn this on me.
No. Kevin goes on a 45-minute rant. Vince says nothing. Leslie goes one thing, and Vince goes.
My response was I'm not doing this. You're gaslighting me. You're gaslighting me.
Bottomless gaslight. I just have to say, because I wanted to be on record, I'll promise I'll make it super quick. The whole comment about the structure behind the idea of like saying to a woman, like, has anyone ever told you X? Like, has anyone ever told you your eyes are beautiful? Yeah. My only comment about that, which we could, again, it's very fertile ground and I'm not at all, but just honest, quick thought is like, I don't like that framing. And like, again, if someone said it to me, which it has been said, I don't automatically be like, I'm like, but it's just so condescending. And honestly, I feel like rooted in patriarchy. Can you imagine like saying to a man, like, has anyone ever, I don't know. It's just like, yes, somebody has told me that I'm pretty. Thanks. Like, you're not the only mouthpiece of what can tell me that I'm like beautiful or pretty, or like it's not men's job to inform women if they're beautiful or not, or if they're, and usually when men say that, they mean you're like desirable to me. And I'm not saying that's what you were saying, Kevin, but just that whole framing of like, has anyone ever told you, especially if you're saying that to like a grown woman, like what? Like, talk about already creating a structure where you are like the source of affirmation. Like, I'm going to be the one to tell you that, you know, anyway.
Have you ever told yourself that you had beautiful eyes?
Let me, because again, like, this rekindled friendship.
Exhibit B.
No. Thank you.
Vince, I want to hear your thoughts too, so you better exhibit C this.
Thank you for finally being fair, Vince. Let me state again, Leslie's right. As a male who doesn't have a lot of, which is why I appreciate my friendship with Leslie, my new rekindled friendship with Leslie. As a male who doesn't have a lot of strong, when I say strong, I mean in a good way, not like strong as in difficult or strong as in combative. As a male who doesn't have many or any strong, independent, free thinking women in his life to give feedback, when I say shit, I hear Leslie like a contemporary, like a sister, and I go, shit, I never thought about that, and she's right. Like, fam, what the fuck? Like, so every time Leslie says something like that, it just helps to sophisticate and to grow and to mature the way I think and the way I relate to the world in the context of the female species. So I just want to say thank you, and Leslie's right. Like, shit is real.
For it.
We need your quick part C and D, though, because I'm actually genuinely curious, Vincent and Matthew, if you have any quick takes on that.
Matthew, you can go first.
Personally, I think the whole concept.
If you want, this is your podcast. Sorry.
Get out. No, it's whatever. I think the whole concept of like those kinds of pickup lines and stuff are corny and cheesy. Probably because I've seen it proliferated so much in media as how it's supposed to be done, and it's so. I mean, I don't know. I think it's not for me personally, but I also have a different set of experiences because I grew up in a family of mostly women, and I naturally attract more female friends until like I got into like high school, college. So I've heard those perspectives a lot, and I've like seen guys, compliment my sisters, and most of them are terrible. And so I don't know. My frame of reference is just different. So I feel like it can be definitely come off as condescending, and it's the whole male ego, male fragility type thing, feeling like, because it's just a fact that men feel like they validate women, period. And this is an overarching thing, and we're all guilty of it. We are bred in a society that says that men validate everything, which includes women. So whenever you hear people do those things or say those things or pass it off, they probably might not even mean it maliciously, but it feeds into that system that they were unconsciously susceptible to. So I don't know. I personally think it's dumb for me, if I were to go up to a woman and be like, has anyone ever told you you had beautiful eyes? I would feel stupid because I would be like, you just did. So like the answer is automatically going to be yes by default, because.
And there's not a problem with like uplifting people and telling them. It's just like, why can't you just be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, instead of posing it as a question,
like, because I mean, I've also gone, and then maybe
it can be
intent, but I don't know. I've also gone up to people and been like, ma'am, that dress is popping. Or like, I love I like your hair, or like you look nice.
I compliment people all the time.
Right. So I think it's the way that you phrase things, or, but then again, people have their own different assumptions about me regardless. So maybe my mission isn't the same as other people's missions, but that's another conversation. Vince?
I just want to say on behalf of my podcast mates, thank you for having us on today. We really appreciate this time and space and you entertaining our craziness. And thank you for the wonderful discussions.
Amen.
There a burn, like a burn section? The burn? Wasn't there a burn? The burn?
Isn't this? Didn't we just do it?
Kind of. Well, since we kind of already started going into the burn. The burn is our section where we just kind of rant about things that are burning us up. Because if you've ever used brown mouthwash, you know that shit burns. So we kind of touched on it. Since we were talking about relationships and stuff, though, I remember we brought up the idea of like that dynamic between couples. I hate whenever people are controlling in relationships of who the other people associate with. Case in point, like whenever people are like, you can't have this kind of friend or that kind of friend, or like, if I'm dating you, I don't want to see you around other guys, or, stuff like that. Like, I hate that thing because it happens to a lot more people than I think we realize. And my thing is, if you are trying to dictate who the other person spends time with, that's not an issue with them, it's an issue with you. And I need you to be a little bit more secure in who you are and what your relationship is, and stop trying to feel like you have to control everybody else's social spheres. Because whenever it comes down to it, people have lives outside of you, and there are so many more people that they have probably met, interacted with, fostered relationships with before you were even a factor in their lives. So I'm not about to give up a friend that I met when I was 6 years old because you are afraid of me being around people of the opposite sex. That speaks to a bigger issue that has nothing to do with me. But so the fact that you're trying to throw this on me, and it's just weird. It's weird. It's goofy, and I need people to get over that.
Come on, Goofy. I mean, I have very strong opinions on that.
Wait, Matt, is Vince, as a part of the burn section, are we supposed to add on to your rant and comment, or are we supposed to rant on our own individual, independent things that are separate?
I don't care.
If Matt's rant connects with something you want to rant about, I guess you can, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. Kevin, what you want to say?
I'm just going to let you guys speak. Yeah, because I already ranted. I already did mine.
Let me say, I cannot as a part of the burn, if these two come up with something first, I can then conjure a burn section to talk about.
I love a good conjuring.
However, comma, I cannot comment on Matt's burn because it would literally be an entire 2.5-hour episode. So I
actually agree. I think what I was going to say, and I'll keep it super brief, is that I agree with Matt because it's so incongruent with my personality and like my mode of living to be controlling. And I feel like this is actually a great fertile ground of conflict between me and Kevin, but that's a whole episode in itself. So we'll park about this for the future. This is good ground.
I'm about to say, which is amazing because I violently, vehemently, wholeheartedly disagree with Matt and Vince, and it would be a whole 2.5-hour conversation. So that's why we can't get into it.
It's crazy though. I mean, I don't know. I would be
Matt's like, okay, well then I'll keep talking.
We can table
back and more.
We can table it. But I mean, that's just something that burns me up personally. Because my thing is like, if I'm in a relationship, I want to feel secure enough to either communicate about those kinds of things if that is a concern of mine. But I'm not about to dictate or tell you that you can or cannot associate with certain kinds of people. You know what I'm saying? Especially if there hasn't been an issue presented. Now, if I already know, I don't like how you and so-and-so were looking at each other. Is there something there? Let's talk about it. It's rubbing me the wrong way. That's different. But if I'm projecting insecurity onto you by saying don't associate with certain people, that's fucked up. And I don't think that's their problem. I think that's yours. So.
Also, even if you do sense vibes between your significant other and someone, I just totally think it's between you and your significant other. Like, just talk to them. And again, it's like, well, if it's enough to break you up, then you shouldn't be together. Like, it does not have to involve you're in relationship with that person. Like, you don't need to like come after the third party, which, yeah, you can talk about like disrespect, but at the end of the day, they didn't make a commitment to you. Your significant other did. So your issue is, hey, significant other, are you like, I feel this way about the commitment we made. Like, that third person didn't make any commitment to you. And you can say, well, what you're doing is kind of wrong because they're in a relationship. But again, it's your significant other that made the commitment, not that person. And like, they're allowed to flirt with, like, yeah, it might be like a rotten thing to do, but like, they don't have any commitment to you. Like, it's you and your significant other. And if your significant other allows that and perpetuates it and you have a problem with it, then once again, maybe you shouldn't be together. Or maybe you can be like, oh, I'm fine with this. I understand your perspective. What, you know, like, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Leslie is 1000% correct. Because in that situation, because in that situation, like, that outside party was like an outside party. There wasn't any social contract between the two people dating and the outside party. I just want everyone listening to know that if I was one of the contractual people and me and Vince run down to the outside party and beat your fucking head into the curb, we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong either.
What?
Why did I get pulled into
or if that's Vince and his girlfriend, Vince calls me up and I run down and I gun butt you in the middle of LA and put your teeth on the curb and kick your shit in, we didn't do anything wrong.
I have very mixed feelings on your use of gun butt.
Because
I equally kind of hate it, kind of love it at the same time.
Because I'm out of the Air Force in 2 years, and if Vince calls me up in 2 years and he dating some pretty little bad Asian thing. In the middle of LA.
I feel like this is a different.
I have a rant.
Finally, that's what I was going for. Finally.
But we'll put a pin on Kevin coming through and pulling up with me and gun butting someone because this one might be a little spicy. It's also political because.
Why not?
Yeah, you know my mode. I've been thinking through a lot. I have a lot of beef with some people of color, and actually probably more so with white woke people talking shit on conservative white people and the way they talk shit about them. And I've been peeping a lot post-election discourse that bothers me about like using overtly classist language like white trash Yes. I said this in our podcast. Like, someone said like Flint wasn't blue enough, so like fuck their water. Like it's like they've internalized all the modes of bigotry and hate that we are supposed to be against, and that just comes out like with blind colors. And I get it because there's like a discourse that basically says there's a third of the country that's racist. That's why they vote for Trump, regardless of how super reductive that is. Not saying that there aren't racist people that support Trump, and not saying that I don't think Trump's a racist, but that's my TED Talk for probably the entirety of the rest of 2020 is just how like so simple-minded that is, and like how hypocritical, like if we're trying to be above the fray, like you can't, like how are you going to perpetuate classism or like count off a whole group of people when you're supposed to be above that? And I'm not making false equivalencies. Let me like preface this with a million different prefaces that the racists, not all Trump supporters are racist, but all racists typically like are basically Trump supporters. And if you're a part of an oppressed group, like the emotion that you have to carry with that amount of the country supporting someone that is overt racist, xenophobe, misogynist, like I get that. I agree. I'm emotional too, but like, can we be better? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, period. And I have one more thing, because this is we're getting into the holidays. Thanksgiving is not your time to experiment with the main shit that's at my table. If you have a new recipe, you have a limit of an 8x8 inch pan to put that shit in if you're going to bring it to the table. And it better not replace the tried and true things that we have every year. Don't fuck with the standard. If we have mac and cheese and it's made with the regular ass sharp cheddar or cheddar blend and nothing else, crack some pepper and seasonings in there, and that's every year, do not come in here with some random vegetables in the macaroni without there being the classic one there as well. I will try your casserole concoction, but not if it replaces the classic mac and cheese. Also, I personally don't care if you bring your little friend with you and they've never come to a holiday. As long as
COVID. No strangers.
I'm speaking generally. 2020 is different, but as long as they know the rules. I don't give a fuck who you talking to or who you get down with behind closed doors, but I do give a fuck if they think they can skip me in the line and they know they're not supposed to, if they don't know how it works. Like, I waited and starved myself since midnight yesterday to wait till 4 p.m. to get this hot plate. And you are not about to come and skip me in line so you can look around at all the things on the table and wonder what you're going to pick out first. There is a structure that we understand in this family. And just because you're new and just because cousin Steve brought you does not mean that you have special privileges to go first. I don't care if my grandma said that because you're a guest, you get to go before me. I am getting my plate. I'm getting my plate. Now, on that note, I hope everybody does take into precaution the safety measures of COVID-19. And if you're bringing anyone, even if they are a part of your family, they need to have been tested, or you guys need to have been quarantining, unless you just don't care about the Rona. Because the other thing is, I'm not about to bring you into my space if you've been exposed or if you lying and checking red boxes like Kevin be checking about whether or not you got tested or were being sick. We're not playing games this holiday season. So don't play the games with me. That's all I need to say.
Wait, what kind of experimental dishes have you been seeing at the dinner table? Because I've been experimenting with some mac and cheese this week.
Like, there's a... People will be making shit vegan that doesn't ever have to be vegan. Like, Thanksgiving's not the time. It's not the time for your vegan ham. Okay? Like,
talk about it.
If you bring it in an 8x8 dish and it's a sample, sure, I'll have it alongside my actual ham. But if I come up in that house and I ask, where's the ham? And you point to that, and that's it, there's an issue. There's a problem. Because I prepared my taste buds for a pig. Not some soy tempeh concoction that's pink and smells like pork. That's not about to work for me. You know what I'm saying? Talk about it.
Matt preaching my message.
You're making me hungry.
So
Matt is preaching my message.
I'm not opposed to people doing new things. It just can't be the only things. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it. We need somebody to defend the non-vegetarians, Matt.
Okay, we're not.
Talk about it.
Today,
talk
not
about
tomorrow, not yesterday.
My violent vegetarians is what I call them. VV, V squared. Violent vegetarian.
Hey, I got the VV on my chest. Fuck you mean?
Get out.
Fuck you mean?
All right, now that it's been 3 hours of wonderful discourse.
Dead ass 3 hours. 5:58, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock start time, 6 o'clock end time.
Yikes.
Ooh, I feel like I just worked a shift.
Yeah. Well,
because of you, Matt. Never mind.
I mean, and then working during the holidays is a whole nother conversation, but I think that might be best saved for another swig of brown mouthwash. If you all are listening and are still with us, thank you so much for spending your time and hopefully enjoying the discourse that happened today. Thank you, Bottomless Podcast hosts, for doing this and chatting with me. I enjoyed the conversation, and I hope you guys aren't too stressed or had too many gray hairs after all of this. If you guys want to follow them, make sure you follow them at Bottomless Podcast. That is BTTMLESS podcast. And do you guys want to plug any of your personal socials or?
Check out my OnlyFans. It is
Okay.
Oh, no, never mind.
All right. Well, follow them on their podcast. And then, of course, you can follow
me on LinkedIn, Leslie Pyo. P is in Papa, Y-O.
Come on, Jobs. And then you can always, of course, follow us at Brown Mouthwash Pod on social media. That is BROWNMOUFWASH. Or email us at brownmouthwash@gmail.com if you have anything you want to submit for the Gargle in future episodes. Again, I'm your host, Matthew. Thank you, Leslie, Vincent, and Kevin. And we will see you next time on Brown Mouthwash. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Au revoir.